For over 700 years, the samurai warrior was a symbol of power and honor. In Japan, these skilled warriors were more than just fighters. They were the elite class of Japanese society. Samurai followed a code called Bushido. This code was all about loyalty, courage, and being really good at fighting. Their influence shaped Japan's history, culture, and how they fought wars. The samurai first appeared around the 1100s. They served local lords who owned land. As time went on, they got more powerful and important. They became a major force in Japan. Their lives were all about warfare. They practiced and trained very hard and followed strict rules. They were masters of fighting with and without weapons. Samurai had to be skilled with many different weapons. They also needed to be great horseback riders and good at planning battles. Honor and loyalty were everything to them. They were expected to fight bravely and not be afraid to die even today. People all over the world are fascinated by the samurai. They represent a special mix of military skill, cultural importance, and serious dedication. The way samurai fought wars changed a lot over time. The early period from the 1100s to the 1500s was all about one-on-one fights and small battles. Samurai from this time were mostly archers on horseback. They fought in duels and raids. Being good with a bow, an arrow, and a sword was super important for winning battles. The Sengoku period from the mid-1400s to the early 1600s was a big turning point. Japan was almost always at war with itself. This meant bigger battles, more complicated formations, and new weapons. Attacks with lots of horses became a common tactic. Guns from Europe changed warfare completely. Samurai adapted to these changes. They started using guns too. Big battles with thousands of soldiers became more common. This period saw famous warlords like Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi become powerful. These leaders commanded huge armies. They used new and clever tactics and strategies. The Sengoku period was a time of great change and lots of military advancements. Samurai warfare was at its biggest and most during this time. Samurai warfare was a mix of smart planning and being able to change plans quickly. They used lots of different tactics to outsmart and defeat their enemies. One common tactic was shooting lots of arrows at once. Many samurai archers would shoot tons of arrows at the enemy. This caused confusion and weakened them. Before attacking, charges on horseback were another favorite tactic. Samurai cavalry, wearing heavy armor and armed with lances and swords, would crash into enemy lines. This broke up their formation and created openings for more attacks. Samurai were also great at defending. They would form walls of spears to stop enemy charges. They would use their cavalry on the sides to get around their enemies. Ambushes, night raids, and pretending to retreat were also common tactics. Samurai knew surprise was important. They used it to their advantage. They would set traps for their enemies. They would attack in the dark. They would trick their enemies into bad positions. Samurai warfare wasn't just about being strong. It was about being clever, tricking the enemy and outsmarting them. The samurai were masters of many weapons. They practiced using them all the time. The longbow, or yumi, was their main weapon for many years. Samurai were expert archers. They could hit targets from far away. They used special arrows that could go through armor. The yumi was an important samurai weapon. Throughout their history, the spear, or yari, was another important weapon. It was used for stabbing and sweeping attacks. It was especially useful in close formations. Samurai would use spears to make a wall of blades. That was hard to get through. The katana, the famous curved sword of the samurai, became popular later. It was a useful weapon. It could be used for cutting and stabbing. Samurai used the katana with a shorter sword, the wakizashi for close combat. When guns arrived in the 15, samurai started using them too. The arquebus, a musket with a long barrel, became a favorite. It could shoot farther and do more damage than bows and arrows. Samurai added guns to their tactics. This was a big change in samurai warfare. Section 5: Famous battles and their impact. Samurai battles like Kawanakajima and Nagashino changed Japan's history. Kawanakajima saw Takeda Shingen and Wasugi Kenshin. Clash Nagashino introduced firearms. Changing warfare, Sakagahara united Japan under Tokugawa. Bringing peace, these battles highlight strategic leaders and new technology. Section 6: The art of siege warfare. Attacking castles was common in samurai castles with their strong defenses were important for controlling land. Samurai developed clever ways to defend these strongholds. Attacking a castle involved military engineering and psychological tricks. Attackers would surround a castle. They would stop supplies from getting in. Then they would use different ways to break through the defenses. These included siege towers, battering rams, and digging tunnels. Soldiers would dig tunnels under the walls and use explosives to make parts of the walls fall down. Archers would shoot many arrows at the defenders. Foot soldiers would try to climb the wall. Using ladders and hooks, defenders would use many tactics to fight back. They would pour boiling oil and shoot arrows from the castle walls. They would launch counterattacks. To break the siege, they relied on their strong walls, their weapons, and their determination to survive the attack. Attacking a castle could last for months or even years. It tested how long they could last, how many supplies they had, and how strong their will was. Section 7, the making of a samurai, training and discipline. Becoming a samurai took a whole lifetime. It required tough training, strong discipline, and always following the Bushido code. From a young age, samurai boys started training with swords, bows and arrows and forces. They learned to use many weapons. They became experts at fighting on horseback. They studied strategy tactics and military history. They trained in all kinds of weather. They learned to handle hardship and pain. Physical training was just one part of their education. Samurai also had to be good at calligraphy, poetry, and music. They were trained to be warriors and cultured people. A Bushido code was very important for shaping the samurai character. This code was all about loyalty, honor, courage, and sacrificing yourself for others. Samurai had to be brave in battle. They had to be ready to die for their lord without thinking twice. They had to live by a strict code of ethics. This code guided their actions, both on and off the battlefield. Section 8, the enduring legacy. The samurai may be gone, but we still remember them. In Japan and all over the world, their story is one of bravery, discipline, and complete loyalty. We can see their influence in Japanese art, literature, and movies. There are many stories and legends about them. The samurai warrior, with his famous katana and strong code of honor, is still an important symbol of Japan's past. Their dedication to their training, their skill with weapons, and their never-give-up attitude still amaze and fascinate us. Even though their time is over, the samurai are still a big part of Japanese culture. Their story reminds us of a time when honor and duty were most important. The samurai may not be on the battlefields anymore, but their legend lives on inspiring people today.